Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wildin' in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gon' be our year. We're here, drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring, yeah.
Oh no! We suck again!
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. If you're a Kings fan, smash up that like button down below. If you're disappointed in the Kings' performance today, hit that like button down below. If you're pissed about another Kings loss, hit that like button down below. And while you're down there, smash up that subscribe button. Calvin and I are here for all of your Kings needs, for all your therapy needs. We're here after wins. We're here after losses. We're here on YouTube. And Calvin, I'm drinking a beer. I don't know about yourself, but this was a rough one. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. It was a rough one, but we got a long way to go. This was a very tough stretch for the Sacramento Kings. I'm going to try to be as positive as I can here. These last two games, there's really not much to be positive about, but I'm thinking more long-term and big picture here.
Yeah, you guys are going to be calling me Nancy by the end of this stream because I am extremely negative. This was a horrible game, a horrible performance. I'm in a bad mood. But like Brian says here, at least YouTube TV is working. So I got that going for me, Calvin. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. Welcome in, everybody. Brian, I see you. Jeff, the bouncer, good to have you here as always. We appreciate you. Neil, Key Kings, Gee. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Welcome in. Wow, Calvin, we already got the trade proposals flying here. Apparently, the Raptors are willing to give us OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet for HB.
For 6'3" HB.
Oh, 6'3" HB. Who's that? Davion Mitchell?
Monty McNair, that's De'Aaron Fox. You don't remember?
Oh, shit. I'm off
Monty
today.
McNair would win Executive of the Year. He should win it every year for the next 10 years if he's able to pull that deal off with Masai Ujiri. There's absolutely no chance of that deal happening.
What's up, David? Good to see you. David said, have the Kings hit a wall. Yeah, David, the Kings have hit multiple walls. They hit a wall called the New York Knicks. Now they just hit a wall called the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. They're hitting walls. Yeah, it's true. It's happening. But it's okay. We're in the middle of a tough road trip, and honestly, Calvin, I'm counting here 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 wins and 3 losses in the last 7 games. So still kind of on a positive here. It's a tough road trip. A couple other things to point out here. During the last 4 games, the Kings played the first, the second, the 11th, and the 4th ranked defense in the NBA. So that is a really, really tough.
And tomorrow they get number 9. This road trip is really, really, really tough. 8 of the 11 top defensive rating teams are in the Eastern Conference. And like you just pointed out, the Kings are going to play 5 of them on this road trip and 3 of the top 4. So it's very, very tough.
He says, sick of all the excuses for 6'3" HB. Hey, that rhymes. It works. But hey, welcome in, everybody. Good to have you all. Let's go ahead and start the show. If you weren't paying attention, the Kings lost tonight, 103-123 to the Philadelphia 76ers. And Calvin, 20-point loss is not bad considering how bad they played in the first half of this game. Alex Len remained out. De'Aaron Fox returned for this game. Tyrese Maxey was out. DeAnthony Melton was out. Daniel House Jr. was out. And no problem for the Sixers. We also got to see a little bit of Keita, a little bit of Neemias Keita tonight. We'll definitely talk about that as well. But Calvin, give me your first thoughts on the game.
My first thoughts on the game are just another horrible game to watch, right? I mean, they struggled in all areas of this game. And again, I think it's more important right now as a fan to just kind of take a step back and again, think of this in the big picture form or the long-term scale. The Kings, since their 0-4 start, are still 14-8. They're as you mentioned, 4-3 in their last 7 games. So they're still competing. They're still winning. But again, this road trip is just absolutely brutal to have to play those 4 or 5 teams in a row, back to back to back. They look really tired right now. And you're going to go through stretches like this throughout the course of every NBA season. There's really only 1 or 2, maybe 3 teams in the entire league every year that don't have these huge up and down swings. Those are going to be the teams like Phoenix last year, Boston this year, the teams that are wire to wire, the better or the best teams in the NBA. We know that Sacramento is not one of those teams yet. So I think it's, again, important to kind of readjust what you're looking at. Obviously, this was really, really tough. But there's still a lot of evidence to show that the Kings are going to be competing for a playoff spot this year. I still think that they're a 6 to 8 team in the Western Conference, which, yes, that might mean that they have to go through the play-in tournament to get to the playoffs. But I think if that happens, everybody will be thrilled with the Kings' performances this season.
Yeah, we will definitely see. Shout out to Ian. Good to see you here, Ian. You didn't miss anything in the first half. So, I would burn that tape. I'd throw it away. Even if I recorded this game, I would have deleted it. It is an absolute garbage, trash game, dude. I'm pissed. Pika House says, LOL, this game made me forget how mad I was about the last game. And that's exactly how I'm feeling as well. But hey, let's go ahead here and dive into the box score. Guy, hold all your garbage trades until we at least get through the game here. And then we can touch on all of those.
Yeah,
but
for somebody who thinks De'Aaron Fox is such a terrible player, he really garners a lot of great trade proposals out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, man. Do you think he's good or do you think he's bad, right? Like, where's the value at? Where is the value? But hey, let's go ahead here and look into the box score. Normally, I take a ton of notes for these games, but honestly, I did not take many notes for this game. But once it started falling apart, I contemplated continuing to watch the game. I told you, Calvin, I was like, if the Kings are down by 40 in the fourth quarter, we're starting the stream early.
Yeah.
Like this is absolutely ridiculous. So let's kind of go through these together. Domantas Sabonis, 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. 8 of 10 shooting from the field in only 30 minutes of action. This was his 18th double-double of the year, which is leading the NBA. So most double-doubles. And then, Calvin, I believe you said that Tyrese Halliburton was number 2. Is that correct?
He was tied, actually, a few days ago when they both had 16 with Domantas Sabonis for number 1 in the league. I don't know if the number is still the same or not, but he's definitely up there in the top 2 or 3 in the NBA.
So shout out to Ty.
And he's the only guard that is in that list also. The rest
and
of them
leading the
men.
NBA in assists. So, yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah.
Also, Domantas Sabonis, 4 personal fouls in this game. He picked up a bunch of fouls early. I was surprised he didn't foul out in this game, right? We even saw some questionable calls late here. And obviously, we can talk about the Zebras here later on, but not happy with them as well. Harrison Barnes, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists in 31 minutes, 4 of 12 from the field and 1 of 6 from three-point range. All these numbers are painful, so I'm just going to try and rattle through all these. Keegan Murray, 3 points, 2 rebounds in 21 minutes, 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 4 from three-point range, 3 personal fouls, also picked up 2 early in this game. De'Aaron Fox in the return, 13 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist in 29 minutes, 5 of 15 from the field, 1 of 7 from three-point range. Kevin Huerter, 7 points in 24 minutes, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 5 from three-point range, and only 1 assist from him. We've been getting used to seeing Kevin Huerter dish the ball out quite a few. Only 21 total assists in this game for the Sacramento Kings, which is not good, man. I mean, the last couple games, we've had 20 assists, I think 19, 21, 21. It's been absolutely horrible, but that's what happens when you shoot this horrendously from three-point range. We'll definitely touch on that here in a second. As far as the bench goes, Trey Lyles, 2 points in 17 minutes. We got to get more out of him. 5 points for Metu, 3 points for KZ Okpala. Rashawn Holmes, dude, 7 points. He's the bright spot here outside of Sabonis. 7 points in 6 minutes for him, 3 of 4 from the field. We also got to see him hit his second three-pointer of the season, Calvin. I think he's shooting like 100% from three-point range, if I'm not mistaken. We got to see some Keita, Nehemias Keita. We'll definitely talk about him. 2 minutes and 22 seconds of action for him. 3 personal fouls. A really, really tough go against Joel Embiid. The dude was basically hazed out there tonight. This was an initiation for him. Might as well have been a hazing. Davion Mitchell, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists in 19 minutes. Terrence Davis, 12 points in 14 minutes, 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3-point range. Malik Monk, 16 points in 24 minutes, 4 of 10 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3-point range. 4 assists for him tonight, though. And Keon Ellis, 0 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist in 6 minutes of action. Dellavedova did not play in this game. And then as far as the Sixers go, I mean, look at this. 4 starters in double figures. You got 21 points, a really, really quiet 21 points for Tobias Harris. He was sneaky good in this game. Joel Embiid, 31 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. This guy had like 27 in the first half. So surprisingly, he did not have more, but nobody could stop Joel Embiid today. 21 points, 15 assists and 7 rebounds for James Harden, 15 points for Matisse Thybulle, and then, Shake Milton, 14 points for him, and Gorgie Nang, 12 points, including 4 3-pointers. Calvin, what sticks out here to you?
I mean, it's the shooting. When you're just looking at the box score, right, it's got to be the shooting. The Kings, it's one of their biggest weapons. Yes, they did take a bunch of contested threes in this game. If you shoot over 40 in a game, you're probably going to have a few contested. But they also got good looks, too. They just did not knock them down. And really, everybody on the team had at least 1 or 2 open looks, or at least of the guys that shot threes. They're just not converting, and they haven't been for quite some time. So, yes, it's a combination of things. You're playing really good defensive teams that are very physical as well, and I think the Kings are struggling with that because they run so much motion. When you get bumped and moved off the line, as you're trying to come off a double screen, it definitely affects you if you're looking for an outside shot. But they did have a lot of open looks here as well that they just did not knock down. So it's no secret the Kings are obviously a better team when they make a bunch of their threes because they shoot them at a very high rate. They're up in the top of the league in doing that. So you've got to be able to convert on some of these.
Yes, you definitely need to convert. Shout out to Lee here. Lee, I know these games have been disappointing, man. Don't drink too much, though. Shout out to Tito. Good to see you here, Tito, and Jose. Just pow work. Yeah, rough game. Rough game. I got the team stats up here. As you can see, the Kings shot 41% from the field, 51% for the Sixers. And another horrible shooting performance from 3-point range, only 23.8% for the Sacramento Kings. But Calvin, they made some free throws today, 17 of 20 from the free throw line. That is the silver lining, 85% for them. They out-rebounded the Sixers, which is surprising, 48-42. And then I mentioned, the assist numbers there, only 21 assists for the Kings. Another horrible, assist output for them as opposed to 34 for the Sixers. 17 total turnovers. It's crazy, man. That assist to turnover ratio is getting pretty close to 1-to-1 for the Sacramento Kings. The rest of these numbers, we could basically throw out here. This game was absolute trash. It was garbage. It was over in the first half. I want to talk a little bit about Embiid here before we talk about the Kings players. Because Calvin, the dude is a beast, right? He just came off a 53-point performance. The Kings had nothing for him in this game. The only reason he didn't have another 50-point performance is because they were up by so much, and they didn't need him in the second half of this game. What did you see out of Joel Embiid tonight? And you have any tips for the Kings? Any suggestions on what you could do to slow this guy down? Because, this is our first time seeing him this season. And we've talked about, how Sabonis has been incredible and the Kings are playing small ball, but they haven't really faced some of these bigger bigs like Embiid, like Jokic. So, give me your thoughts there.
Well, look, Joel Embiid's one of the most dominating players in the league today, right? I love watching him play. He's one of the most skilled big mans or skilled guys for somebody of his size that I've ever seen play in the NBA. And if I had the answer for how to stop him or how to slow him down, I'd probably have a job as a coach in the NBA somewhere because I don't know if anybody really does. I mean, you say the easy thing is double him right away, right? Just make him pass the ball. Well, they've got guys like George Niang who's shooting over 43% or 40% from three this season. They have capable guys on the outside and the perimeter that are able to convert when they do double him. He's a willing passer as well. He's not the type of superstar that just backs himself down into the post over and over again and takes contested shot after contested shot. He picks and chooses his moments really, really well. He's a very skilled mid-range guy. He can turn around and fade over any defender and get a good shot off. We saw him hit a ton of those on Sabonis, who was playing good defense on him. It's just a better shot. And then if you say, okay, well, we're just going to foul him and put him at the line, that works against you too, because he's one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA, and he takes more attempts than anybody else. So this is just an incredibly difficult person to stop. I mean, I think that the Kings needed to play much, obviously, better on the offensive end. Sometimes your best defense is a great offense, right? And if they were able to hit a bunch of threes in this game, they were able to get out and run a little bit more, that would have evened the playing field, I think, a lot in terms of how you slow down this team offensively. But they had way too many turnovers. They let Philadelphia get a bunch of easy shots. And again, I think the team is just tired. I mean, there were 4 or 5 instances where I saw Shake Milton catch the ball on the wing with one guy in front of him and nobody else back on defense. There are 2 things wrong. One, you're getting beat on the straight line drive every single time, right? But you also have nobody that's back yet on defense to help when he does. So he just gets free look at the rim every single time. That's a sign of a really tired team to me that's on this long, grueling road trip against some really difficult teams. So, I mean, in terms of stopping Joel Embiid, I don't know what the answer is, and I'm not sure many people do. But I think there were a lot of other areas in this game where the Kings really fell flat that could have helped them, give them a chance to at least compete for the rest of it.
Yeah. The dude is one of the best centers, if not the best center in the NBA. I expect him to get an MVP. I expect him to win one of these awards, probably make it to the finals here in the next couple years. He's just an absolute dominating force inside. You know, they were showing all the numbers today, right, between Shaq and Wilt, and it's like anytime you get compared to any of those guys, we know you're a pretty good basketball player. So, you know, the Kings got to figure it out next time. And obviously, you know, shooting this bad does not help either, right? Even if Embiid gets 20 points in this game, when you shoot like this, you know, you're not really giving yourself a chance to win. Live by the 3, die by the 3, as I saw here in the chat. What's up, Sass? Good to see you here. Sass says Embiid flops too much. It's hard to watch. Yeah, I could see that. Monk is Buddy 2.0 and Herter forgot how to shoot. Hey, those are strong words, man. Hold off on those. We're not really sure yet. Neil, what's up, dude? But yeah, it's I mean, another bad game, man. I don't want to make excuses for anybody. This is just a bad game, dude. It was hard to watch. Like you said, the team looks tired. You know, maybe we overexcelled and played too well in the first 20 games. I don't know, Calvin, but you know, whatever they're doing, they need to figure out the answer because teams have exposed them recently. And honestly, you know, they just can't make shots. They allowed 80 points in this game in the first half. You know, they were on pace to score 160, the Sixers. So they would have been the 160 Sixers. I don't know. I said that wrong, but the 176ers. 176ers. But hey, you know, the Kings need to figure it out. They need to play better defense. They can't let teams get off to such a hot start like we've seen in the past couple games to where they're just constantly trying to battle back and try and get within 10, within 15, within 20 in this game. And that tires them out as well. Speaking of being tired, they got a game tomorrow. They got to travel tonight to a different country. And they got to play tomorrow. And so they got to be ready. We'll definitely talk about that towards, you know, later on in the show. But, hey, I want to talk a little bit about Sabonis. You know, we mentioned 18th double-double for him this year. Has had pretty close to a couple triple-doubles. 22, 10, and 5 tonight. I mentioned the foul trouble. He's also been extremely efficient. 80% from the field again today, but only 10 shots. Calvin, is Sabonis not being aggressive enough? This is what we've talked about in the past couple streams. Do you want to see him taking more shots? Do you like where he's at? Or does him getting into like an early foul trouble limit his aggressiveness?
Well, getting into early foul trouble definitely limits your aggressiveness. You know, I think there are certain moments during the game when they could look to Sabonis to be more of a scorer than he is right now, or just, you know, be more aggressive in looking for a shot. But overall, I don't think you can find many flaws or faults other than the foul trouble, which, again, that's not always his fault or his responsibility, right? Sometimes it's just bad calls. But other than that, I don't think you can find many flaws with how Sabonis is playing right now. He's been the best player on this team, over the course of the entire season, for sure, the most consistent, and he is responsible for so much, both offensively and defensively. So he's giving them really, really good minutes, obviously, every time he's out there. One thing I think that the Kings could make a slight adjustment with on offense, the way that this system is run, you see them try to throw these pocket bounce passes a lot, and they looked really good early on in the season. And there's a lot of guys that throw them: Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, Sabonis. I think that teams are starting to catch on to that a little bit. I saw a ton of deflections on those passes in this game, a lot of lazy cross-court passes as well. But one thing I think the Kings could try to change up, within the context of the game, is having whoever's coming off, whether it's the dribble handoff with Sabonis or these big, long double down screens, looking to be more aggressive right away after getting the ball to try to take it to the basket. A lot of times the Kings kind of hang out and, dribble a couple of times to see how the defense is going to react, and they're looking to throw those slip bounce passes to a roller or a backdoor cutter. And I think teams are catching on to that a little bit. So I would try to get in the heads of some of these guys. If you see an open lane, let's look to go right at the basket first. Other than that, I'm not going to make too many adjustments to how Sabonis is playing right now. He's been everything for the Kings.
Yeah, he really has. He really has. And I mentioned to you during the game, right? It seems like the Achilles heel of this Kings team, other than three-point shooting and some of these other mistakes, is Sabonis getting in early foul trouble, because you mentioned it limits his aggressiveness and it just limits his overall impact on the game. Yes, we've seen times where Metu's been able to come in, facilitate a little bit, play a little bit better, get some easy dunks, but for the most part, like tonight, I didn't really see many good things out of Metu. I saw him take some bad shots. I saw him make some bad plays on defense. They're much different players, but Sabonis just needs to be out there if this Kings team wants to have any chance of winning a bunch of basketball games this season. Shout out to and Key King says TD is extremely hit or miss. Most nights it's a miss. I mean, you got to give TD a little bit of a break here. He is returning from the lower back soreness. I believe this is his second game back, and he played pretty well tonight. 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point range. 12 points in 14 minutes, much better. He looked much, much better than he did against the New York Knicks, but he brings energy. He brings effort. For me, I'm looking at the starters. I think the starters are more at fault for this game in just letting it get out of control early on. But I get what you're saying. It can be frustrating when a guy like TD, who you feel has a big impact on this team, just disappears at times. It can be very, very infuriating. Shout out to Lydia. Lydia says maybe Holmes needs to start at the 4 tomorrow night. Barnes is just not happening. Huerter has disappointed. I think Huerter got off to a really, really hot start at the beginning of the season and maybe got Kings fans' hopes up a little high for him. Calvin, what are your thoughts on potentially starting Richaun Holmes at the 4 tomorrow? Are you on board?
I wouldn't start him. I'm definitely okay at this point with playing him more, just, to see what they've got there, or if he can, make a difference in the second unit. I don't like starting him next to Sabonis. I would like to see him come off the bench if he's going to play more. But, yeah, I have no problem with him playing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to kind of go back to my previous statement, right, where the starters have kind of failed. I think that these guys are capable. They've just had a couple of tough games and playing against really, really big teams and really, really good defenses. So I'm probably going to hold off Lydia. I know you want to do something with the big man rotation. You've been so frustrated with that. And, maybe starting Richaun helps that. I'm not really sure. But it's good to see him get some more minutes tonight. And 7 points in 6 minutes is pretty good. Richaun definitely can help this team. I just don't know exactly what that is. Ryder says we need Fox to play like he did in November. He, I guess, had a cold in the beginning of December and now has a foot. He hasn't looked himself all month. He needs to rest his foot if it's that bad and come back 100%. Everyone was excited to have him back in this game, Calvin. Do you think he looked like himself?
No, he definitely didn't look himself to me. It's good to have him back, but he definitely doesn't look himself still. I thought he settled for a lot of outside jump shots today, which, he was making a much higher percentage of those, especially from three early on in the year than compared to other years in his career. Obviously, that's a very small sample size, so you see more of that. But for me, I don't like it when De'Aaron Fox settles for those outside shots rather than trying to get to the basket or the mid-range. I thought there were a lot of opportunities where he had open space in front of him, even if he's just going to pull up for that short, 12 to 15-foot jump shot, which has been his bread and butter. And he still settled to take the outside shot. Part of that is you're down big. You're going for maybe more of a home run, trying to get back in the game faster. But that, to me, that's just not how he gets himself going. Even in the games early on this year where he did shoot well from outside, he was attacking first, trying to get to his comfortable spots on the floor. And maybe that's because the foot is still bothering him a little bit. I don't think that anybody other than him, really has the answer to that question right now. So he doesn't look 100% himself yet. But you can go down the list of this team and not many people look like themselves right now. So that's another major problem.
Great point. And obviously when Fox is himself, he creates a different dimension to this team and probably makes other guys look a little bit better. So, I'm mixed on him. I want him out there. I think he can help this team, but he's clearly not 100%. He's not 100%. That's kind of a decision you got to leave up to Mike Brown on whether he feels like Fox is helping or hurting the team. Shout out to Brian here. Free throw shooting and rebounding were the two bright spots. I couldn't agree more, Brian. Couldn't agree more. Sass says 3-point shooting was our strength the past 3 games or so. We can't hit anything. Yeah, that's true. I mean, we shot 25% against the Knicks, 30% against Milwaukee. We're really living and dying by the 3 right now. 48% against Cleveland, which was our last victory. Calvin, I'm missing the beam right now, man. I hope the beam still works. I hope it hasn't been too long since it's been lit, but we need to get that thing lit.
That long since the Kings won a game. Come on, guys.
I mean, it's been a while, dude. It's Friday, dude. That's like almost a week,
5
dude.
days or something
almost
like that.
A week, dude. Almost a week. We can't be waiting that long for wins, Calvin. We're a good team now, or supposedly. But hey, guess what?
Oh no! We suck again!
Yeah, apparently we suck again. So, hey, that's how I'm feeling right now. Lydia says defense is just hurting us. Turnovers too. Guy says, I think Monk is better than Fox. I would trade Fox for OG straight up. Calvin, what do you think about that deal? Fox for OG?
I don't think OG makes enough money to do that deal straight up. But, I mean, I really like OG. I think he would be a tremendous fit on this team. And out of all the guys that I've heard, the Kings being rumored to go out and get, other than maybe his teammate Siakam, I think OG is the guy for me that I would go after the most. I just don't know. Personally, I'm still surprised to hear that the Raptors are in a fire sale. I don't really understand that totally, but I mean, I get maybe they're not exactly where they want to be in the standings right now, but they're still in playoff contention. They're basically a 500 team. So I'm surprised to hear that they're willing to get rid of anybody and everyone. I just don't know what it would take to get one of those guys.
Yeah, they're 13 and 14 right now, the 9th spot in the East. Man, the East is tough right now. It really, really is. Shout out to Alex here. He said he was disgusted by this game. I was disgusted as well. I mean, try a beer, man. Have a beer. I'm feeling much better now, actually. Much better. He says we should showcase Holmes if we're not doing anything. Maybe not. I don't know. What's up, Sean? Good to see you here. You're a little late, but that's okay. The Kings were late. They didn't even show up to this game. Hey guys, I need a favor from you all. Please go ahead and smash up that like button or the thumbs up button or whatever the hell you call it. Hit that thing. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Share this video with all your favorite Kings fans. It really does help us grow. So please smash up that like button. Even if you're frustrated with the Kings, dude, hit that like button because I am extremely frustrated with them. Dennis, what's up, Dennis? Good to see you. Yeah, you can do it. Oh man, that's funny. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about this game before we jump back here into the chat. So Calvin, obviously, you know, we agree that Sabonis right now is the driving force of this team, right? You think he's the best player on this Kings team? Have we reached that conclusion?
He is right now. Yeah.
Okay. De'Aaron Fox is not healthy or not 100%. We're kind of feeling that. A lot of people are disappointed in HB. Keegan Murray looks lost at times. Yeah, he's been playing well offensively the past couple games. Not a good performance for him tonight. We know about the left thumb injury. He's got like a soft cast on it that he's got to wear for the next couple weeks. We saw him take a tough fall in today's game. I think he'll be all right. But where are you at currently with Keegan Murray? Is he hitting rookie wall number 2?
I mean, I don't know. I think we're way too quick to kind of slap some of these labels on, you know, whether it's the team or individual guys. Like 82 games is a very long season, and you can probably break down an 82 game season into like 8-10 game seasons, right? The team looks very different from month to month, week to week. You go through really difficult stretches schedule-wise, like they're on right now with a very difficult road trip. Guys go through slumps. You know, Keegan, I think before this game, he had how many games straight of double-digit scoring? So, like, just because he, again, has one game where he didn't shoot well, all of a sudden he's in a slump again. I think we're really, really quick to throw some of those accusations at guys. The finger definitely seems to be bothering him. I mean, again, it's not his shooting hand, but catching the ball, dribbling the ball, trying to go up and finish through contact, that's all going to be a major, you know, factor when you have an injured thumb or an injured finger. So I'm definitely not going to say he's hitting rookie wall number 2 right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Sass here. Keegan's been playing well most of the month, but I think one of the things about being a rookie is, you know, you can't really shoulder the load unless you're like a LeBron James or somebody like that. You don't really shoulder the load of a team. So I think that Keegan Murray plays better when the people around him are playing better. I think when Fox is playing extremely well, then Keegan is going to play a little bit better. When Herter's hitting threes, Keegan's going to play a little bit better because it's going to open things up for him. But when this team is struggling, when they're playing horrible defense, not getting, you know, fast break opportunities, and, you know, they're trying to play hero ball, right? They end up in these huge slumps where they're down 20, down 30 now, and you're like, okay, how are we going to figure this out? How are we going to get back into this game? And then guys like Keegan just aren't prepared for moments like that. So he kind of gets out of his rhythm. You know, maybe the moment's a little bit too big for him just because he hasn't really been in this situation before. So I don't think anything negative towards Keegan Murray. I think he'll be just fine. But, you know, he's not a person I'm looking to lay blame on at this moment. You know, he's not a leader on this team. He's just a young rookie with a lot of potential who I really like and I think will be a good player. But honestly, he's just kind of following the lead of a lot of these veterans. So that's kind of where I am. You feel that, Calvin?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you made a very good point there when we're talking about this team. There are lots of other teams in the NBA that have one or two guys that can carry you through a rough game, right? Because of how good they are individually. Maybe the Lakers with guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Nets with guys like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. That's not who the Kings are. They don't have one guy who they're like, okay, even Sabonis, you know, he does so much for this team, but a lot of what he does, you know, is facilitating for other guys first. They don't have one or two players on this team where you're like, okay, we just can't do anything right now offensively, so here, save us. We're going to give you the ball, and you kind of take over. They play well when everyone on the team plays well. So even if you have one, like Terrence Davis, he had an okay game tonight. He didn't shoot as badly as everybody else. You need all the role players on this team to play up to their potential in order for it to look like what it's supposed to look like. It's not going to be one or two guys bailing you out in certain situations when you're struggling.
Yep. Sass says we should try and use Holmes as power forward. He's hitting his threes. Sass, he hit 2 threes, man. That's it. That's it, man. He's not stroking threes. He's not taking a bunch of threes. He's hit a couple threes when this team's been down 20 plus points in both instances. So pump the brakes on it a little bit. Holmes is not a 3-point shooter, at least at this moment. I wish he was, but at least not at this moment quite yet. Ian says the perfect power forward would be Aaron Gordon, but he isn't available. What do you think about Aaron Gordon, Calvin? We talked about this years ago.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And you kind of laughed in my face when I said I wanted Aaron Gordon and how underrated he was.
I'll do it again.
That dude would be great on this team, I think. Solidifying the power forward position, he's a really underrated defender. He can guard a lot of different positions in this league. They stick him on Steph Curry for most of the game when the Nuggets play Golden State. That's how much they value him defensively. Great leaper, rebounder, rim runner, all of that stuff. Not the most polished offensive game in general, but I don't think you would need him to come in on this team and score 25 points a game. I think he would fit into the team great. He would increase the defensive productivity. Probably make the bench a little bit stronger too, because he solidifies the one position I think that's the weakest on this team.
All right, Calvin, maybe you're convincing me. Maybe you are. I'm just not an Aaron Gordon fan, man. I'm not. What is that one show where he's just like, I just don't like his face? You just have that guy where you just don't like his face. That's kind of where I'm at, and I didn't think he deserved to win the dunk contest either. So I'm kind of there. I'm kind of there on that. We can talk about some of the bench. I mean, Trey Lyles is back. 17 minutes for him. Didn't play well. He's still getting his win back after dealing with. Did he have COVID or was the Katie flu? I don't know which one it was. It's
Not
hard
really
to tell
sure
what it is these days. They seem to just say flu now or non-COVID related illness. Didn't play well. Metu, I talked about, didn't really play well. Hey, here's a guy we can talk about, Calvin. 88, dude, my birth year. Let's talk about Keita. I'm all negative, so let's hear some positive from you.
Well, look, I don't think you should really judge Keita based on this game, right? The only reason he was there was because they knew they were going to need another big man. Alex Len not available for this game. Rashawn Holmes, yes, they have him, but Keita's got a lot more size than he does. So it's very unfair to Keita that he has to play against Joel Embiid here in this first game. Obviously not ready for the matchup, quick fouls. I still think there's a lot to like about this guy. He's played really, really well in the G League. It's just a different game. And the way that he gets his points in the G League too, again, they're all off of drives to the basket. He gets left open at the rim or he gets a putback, which I don't want to take anything away from him. He's doing what he needs to be doing. It's just not going to be as easy or come as naturally in the NBA than it is in the G League. So he's got a long way to go, I think, offensively. And he needs more reps, I think, before you feel like, okay, we can actually stick him on somebody like Joel Embiid for big portions of this game. This is a good challenge for him, a good test. I'm sure there's a lot for him to learn from this situation, but definitely not ready for this type of moment.
Oh, man, this was a setup, bro. This was a straight setup, dude. They set him up so good. Like I said, they probably hazed him, dude. This was a hazing. This was an initiation. They're like, okay, Keita, all the Kings fans want to see what you can do. We need a rim protector. Let's throw you in there. 3 personal fouls in 2 minutes of action. He did get a rebound. He did get an assist. But the dude just got dominated. And, I mean, would you expect anything else? It's Joel Embiid, like probably the best center in the NBA. I just thought that he set him up for failure.
Name one team or one player that is capable of stopping Joel Embiid. I'll wait.
Giannis, I guess.
Giannis is probably the only guy that I can think of that has a legit shot at stopping him. And even he fails to stop him on a lot of occasions. So
Sass says, I don't like Embiid. He's a flopper. Hey, but he's a really good flopper, Sass. He's really, really good at it. But yeah,
He's also really good when he doesn't flop too. So
I felt bad
bad
for Keita because I thought that he totally got set up in this game. And I actually tweeted during this game. If you're not following us on Twitter, make sure you check us out. We got some pretty entertaining tweets. Royal_rebounds on Twitter. But I tweeted out, Kings fans, y'all still think Keita should be ready to move up or whatever. And I think I got somebody who's, I don't even know if he's a Kings fan or not, but somebody from Portugal responded back to me, and it's like, dude, I'm not saying anything bad about Keita. It's just, honestly, he was put in a horrible position. This is probably one of the moves which I don't know if Mike Brown thought this through completely. I want to think that he did, but as soon as Keita came off the floor and Mike Brown was kind of smiling at him a little bit, and he just had his look on his face like, why did I do that? I just set you up so bad. So I don't know if Keita lost a bet or something and had to go in this game, or what happened, but underwhelming debut for Neemias Queta. I hope we do get to see some more of him, but don't put him on Joel Embiid. Give him a little bit of a break. Give him some chance to get his legs going or something. What'd you feel about Davion Mitchell tonight? Only 2 points, 4 assists in 19 minutes. We rave about the defense. He's had some offensive, performances this year. Where are you at with Davion? Because, I'm pretty much in the same spot. I just think this is a horrible game, and it's time to move on.
Yeah, bad game. Time to move on. It would really help if he could give you more offensively, right? Like, I want him to be able to take that next step. He's getting good looks at the basket. He even took some mid-range shots, which I've said on this show a couple times that I want him to maybe take advantage of that opportunity more, or take what the defense gives to you more rather than just go to the rim for a layup or take a three-point shot. He just can't seem to convert. And again, I think the problem is bigger than him, right? You're needing him to step up right now, but his role and how he helps this team at the highest possible level right now is not scoring. There are other guys on this team that should be, giving you, I think, a little bit more, both in the starting lineup and on the bench. It would be great if Davion could come in and have a big spark offensively, but he's just not doing that right now. So it's tough. In a perfect world, if Fox is playing at the level that we saw him play at earlier this year, then, things are much easier because Davion doesn't have to, you're not relying on him maybe to do as much offensively. He can come in and just focus on shutting down whoever his matchup is on that given night. That's the best possible scenario right now for Davion until he's able to take another step offensively. And I don't know when that'll be. I think he has the tools for it. Like, I don't have any problems with his shooting motion. A lot of his shots seem to spin in and out. I just don't know. He's not able to convert on enough of those to make an impact offensively. But
speaking of shots,
it's a bigger problem, I think, than just him, right? Everybody is missing shots. It's not just him.
Exactly. They turned on the magnets or something. But speaking of missing shots or shots spinning in and out, dude, that 1 3-pointer by De'Aaron Fox that spun around, went in, out, spun around again, tried to go back in and jumped out. Dude, that was crazy. I don't know if Fox puts a bunch of backspin on that ball or what, but his shot seems to always kind of do that. Just spin a little bit. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. Shout out to Edward here. Good to see you. Thanks for joining in. We got Queef69. Shout out to you. And Matthew, Sean, you're here. Welcome. Look over there. Good to see you. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure you guys smash up that like button. Please hit that like button. Calvin, I'm about over this game. I hope you are. I hope the Kings are over this game because I think it's on to Toronto. The Kings are probably on the plane right now, sitting in their nice, comfortable seats, maybe having a couple cocktails or something, getting ready for Toronto. Anything else you want to mention about this game before we move on? Because we got some other stuff to talk about.
No, I don't think there's anything else to mention about this game. But again, in terms of this road trip, before the trip started, both you and I and a lot of people in this chat said if the Kings can go 2-4 on this trip, I'll be happy. they could actually go 3-3 still on this road trip, or they could split the two of these last games and be 2-4. So there's still a chance to come out of this. You know, you're not happy with the way that they've lost either of the last two games, that's for sure. But I do think this is a really, really difficult gauntlet of teams that they're going up against back to back to back to back. And to be able to still have an opportunity to come out of the trip 2-4, possibly even 3-3, it'll take a much better effort in order to make that happen. But there's still a tiny bit of light at the end of this tunnel before you come back home.
Yeah, and we can't go 0-6, so that's always good news there. That's always good news. Bouncer, what did I think about the refs tonight? The refs are trash, dude. The refs are always trash. I'm not a big fan of zebras. I just am not. All right, let's go ahead and move on. What's up, Jesus? We can sum this up. Kings bad, Sixers good, and let's go ahead and move on here. So, Alvin, in other news, Nerlens Noel has been released by the Detroit Pistons. There are 4 teams that are currently interested in the big man, one of them being the Sacramento Kings. Looking at nicknames here, the Eraser. I never heard this one. I've been a big Nerlens fan ever since college. I really enjoyed watching him before he blew out his knee. I thought he'd be something in the NBA. I was a little underwhelmed for his first couple seasons, but he's bounced back pretty strong and become like a pretty productive NBA player. Calvin, I'm on board for this move. I absolutely love Nerlens. I think he can protect the rim. He can run the floor. He can catch oops. Obviously, you know, not a great three-point shooter. 15% for his career from three-point range. So that's definitely something that hurts them. But where are you at here in the Nerlens Noel sweepstakes? Because this is a move that, you know, unlike a trade, doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, well, you don't have to give anything up. I mean, it does cost you something. You're going to have to sign him. Not obviously, you're not going to spend a ton of money, but and it's also going to cost, you know, you going a different direction with the rotations. Somebody is going to be affected by this that's on the current roster, whether it's Metu or Lyles or KZ. You know, somebody is going to, or maybe even multiple people would see fewer minutes. Nerlens Noel, it seems like a little bit of a gamble to me. I mean, he has, as you mentioned, bounced back from plagued by injuries, you know, losing kind of the potential or the ceiling that people thought of him when he first came into the league. Like myself, I thought he would be a really, really tremendous, dominating defensive player in the NBA for a long time. He's a really good role player at this point, but getting a little bit older, again, you worry about the injuries. How available can he be for you? I don't know what he gives you offensively, but he certainly helps protect the rim. So there's definitely upside to making a move like that. I just see it as more of a risk, I guess, or a gamble than a surefire thing.
Yeah, I mean, nothing surefire in this thing, but yeah, I like the defense. That's what I'm on board for is bringing him in to help protect the rim. You can see here, obviously this year did not go well for him here in Detroit, but last year with the Knicks, he's averaging 1.2 blocks per game, 2.2 blocks per game the year before with the Knicks, 1.5 the year before that, and 1.2 the year before that. So outside of this year with a trash Detroit Pistons team, the dude's averaging, you know, at least 1 block per game, which is something I think the Kings desperately need. They desperately need. And I just want to, you know, remind everybody, like I said, this doesn't really cost anything. Yes, there could be other costs and taking minutes away, maybe a roster spot from somebody else, but you're not giving up. You're not, you know, having to trade for this guy. And that's one thing that I really, really like about this deal is the potential to bring him on, test him out, and if he doesn't work out, you could just cut him and move on. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what team actually signs him. But I'm definitely in. I like him a lot. I really do. Sean says, how do y'all feel about trading Barnes for DeRozan? I saw a YouTube channel talking about it. Man, the Kings just need to commit on defense. Sean, we've been talking about it as well, but I think your statement here is pretty funny, right? Because you're talking about trading a good defender in Barnes for a bad defender in DeRozan, and then you double down at the end and you said the Kings need to commit on defense. Those are two things that don't really seem to go together. I do like DeRozan a lot. The dude is an absolutely incredible offensive player, great with the mid-range and can do a lot, but he's not the defender of Harrison Barnes' caliber. And you mentioned defense here, so that would assume or make me assume that the Kings need to hold on to Harrison Barnes. Calvin, are you still kind of in the same boat, or where are you at on Barnes for DeRozan?
Yeah, I'm still in the same boat. That feels like a complete desperation move to me, where you're going to, potentially have to change up so much about how the team plays, early on in the season. I'm not there yet for Sacramento to take that big of a risk. Yeah, I know DeMar DeRozan's an all-star caliber player on offense, but this team definitely doesn't need that as much help on the offensive side as they do on defense. It seems like a very desperate move for a team that, again, they're losing very recently, but I don't think this team is desperate yet. They're still in a much better position right now than most people expected them to be this far into the season.
Yeah. Shout out to Scotty here. Scotty wants to start the tank. Scotty, dude, I don't know if you're new or not, but hey, when's the last time the Kings were 2 games above 500 this far into the season? So I think lots of Kings fans are just happy to be here. There's no tanking happening here. I don't think you can find anybody else in the chat that agrees with you that the Kings should start tanking. They just need to make some adjustments. But hey, guys, we're currently in the 7th spot here, and we can make something else happen, whether it's, just getting healthy, which can be an addition to this team, whether it's trading for a player or something like that. The Kings are going to do something. I saw somebody here mention in the chat, what happened to hold the chemistry, don't make a move here. Well, guys, we're just not healthy right now. That's the biggest thing impacting this team is just not healthy. We've been really, really lucky, or at least we were early on in the season, to be extremely healthy. I'm going to knock on some wood here because I don't want anything to happen to Sabonis. He's been the guy pretty much holding down the team while everyone else has been banged up. But they really, really just need to get healthy. Tom says Scotty put down the pipe. Couldn't agree more there. All right, Calvin. In other news, let's talk about these trophies. You want to start here, or you want me to go over all these? Because there's a lot of names here to go over.
There are a lot of names, and of course, when you do that, there's going to be a lot of guys that get left out too, right? There's probably a big handful of players that deserve to have their names on some of these trophies. It's just I don't know what the NBA's obsession is with awards. All of a sudden, they feel like they have to completely revamp and add all these different trophies and awards throughout the course of the season. I don't get it. It doesn't mean much to me. It's cool for these players, that they get honored like this, but it doesn't really mean much to me.
So we've seen them in the past couple years. They've named the Finals MVP award to the Bill Russell Award, right? They've named the Social Justice Award has been changed to the Kareem Award. We had All-Star Game MVP Award, renamed the Kobe Bryant Award. They're continuing this trend. So they just named the MVP trophy, the Michael Jordan MVP trophy. It's 23.3 inches tall or something like that. It weighs 0.6. It weighs 23 pounds, and it's got 6 sides on the bottom to represent all of his rings. So the Jordan MVP trophy is now what it's called. They're also renaming the Defensive Player of the Year award to the Hakeem Olajuwon trophy, which is interesting. The Rookie of the Year to the John Havlicek trophy. The Sixth Man of the Year award will be now called the George McCann trophy. And actually, I'm backwards there.
I think you're
John Havlicek for Sixth Man.
That's Sixth Man. Yeah.
George McCann for Most Improved. And what else am I here? Wilt Chamberlain for Rookie of the Year. And then the new trophy, beyond all those changing things, the new trophy they're introducing here is the Jerry West Clutch Trophy, Calvin. The Clutch Trophy.
Yes.
how does one determine who wins the clutch trophy?
I have no idea. It's hard enough to determine who wins the MVP award. Everybody's got a different way to analyze and critique who should receive that award. I don't know how you... I mean, yes, there are clutch statistics that you can look at, which De'Aaron Fox is actually very, very high in those numbers right now. Clutch field goal percentage, field goal makes, all that sort of thing. So he should be in the conversation as of right now, according to those numbers for this award. But I don't know how you determine who gets this.
Yeah, guys, sorry, I'm not going to read all the trophy names again. I already fucked them up because there's too many. There's too many trophies. But yeah, Jerry West clutch trophy. That's so weird. I mean, the MVP I can see, right? It's like, are you the most valuable player of your team? Are you the most valuable player in the league? Blah, 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 whatever. But like clutch, what the hell is a clutch trophy? Is that going to go to like who hits the most game-winning buzzer beaters? Is that going to go to like who has the most points in clutch time?
So many different ways. You could go all fourth quarter scoring, not just the last 2 minutes. I mean, there's so many different opinions you can have on that idea. So it's too many trophies, as I'm seeing here in the chat. I agree.
Queef says, why no Stockton award? Calvin, should there be a John Stockton award for who leads the league in assists?
I mean, I guess there should be an award for everything, right? Most charges taken, most fouls drawn, most free throws made. You could have an award for everything. Yeah,
interesting. Maybe they need merit badges, like they do in Boy Scouts, where it's like, oh, this year you led the league in rebounding. Here's your rebounding merit badge. And they just like put them on. Maybe that would make it easier. I don't know, dude. There's just way too many. Yeah, Dennis says most eyes poked. That would be an interesting trophy. There's way too much stuff going on here. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. They need to focus on these trash referees that they got out here. These replacement refs that are calling horrible calls. Calvin, when we're watching the game today, and I hate to go back to the bad memories of this game today, but when we're watching the game today, how many different charge calls did we see that were like challenged? We saw ones that weren't called. We saw ones that were called. What did I say to you towards the end of the game? I don't even know what a charge is anymore. I don't. I don't know what the rule is.
It's the hardest play in basketball to officiate. It just is. So, I get it. People are always going to dogpile on the officials, but that call is absolutely the hardest one to make in real time. So, and then you slow it down and you look at it in slow motion, and it looks like a completely different play than when it happened in real time. So, it's just the one thing I'm going to say about officiating is I think that the NBA really needs to take a good hard look at the offensive player initiating contact. We've seen over the past few years how they've done this on jump shots, right? Where it's the offensive player sticking their leg out or taking the space away from a shooter, things like that. Jumping into a player after you've gotten them to pump fake the ball, and that's all good. But I'm talking about on drives or when you're posting up. I feel like and again, it's a hard thing to do in real time, but I feel like the advantage is way too much on the offensive side right now because guys are able to come down the lane at 1,000 miles an hour, get in the air, and just throw their bodies around in all different types of directions, and it looks like you've created contact, and so you get a foul. That's the thing that I think is the biggest problem right now with how, not necessarily officials in general, but just how the NBA game is called as a whole. I mean,
but why would the NBA do that, right? Like, offense sells, defense doesn't sell. I don't even know if it's so much about making it fair at this point, and as it is just let's make a show, let's make this a performance. We need as much money as possible. We need to make all of our fans happy to watch. And they want high-flying, big dunks, deep threes. They want offense, dude. They don't want defense.
Well, that's a fair point, but a lot of these plays that I'm talking about slow the game down anyway, right? Because you've got guys that back down in the post, all of a sudden they turn in and throw their shoulders in and, try to jack up a crazy shot, and that's rewarded as a foul. I think there is a very fine line the whole going vertical thing, right? It's tough because when guys do go vertical, and I know Sabonis has done this a lot, but I've also seen him, even if you bring your arms down just a little bit and tap somebody on the shoulder, that's what the official is looking for. But I think that in the half court, when you've got guys that literally all they're looking to do is to run into somebody else's body and then put up a shot, that's not taking away a high-flying dunk or a fast break or anything like that. That's literally just slowing the game down and putting people at the free throw line. So that's what I would be kind of focusing on if I was in contact or in charge in any way, shape, or form of how the game is officiated.
I think they need an official in the booth that watches the game and can call down and be like, whoa, just, if they have the time, like, whoa, double check this, or this is totally wrong, or what, that might be nice. I don't like to make the game drag on. Sometimes it just drags on way too long, and I don't like that. I love everybody here in the chats writing all these different trophies. That's absolutely hilarious. But Calvin, while I'm ranting about stupid stuff, I gotta say my least favorite thing now is where they have commercials during the middle of the game, where they'll just pull the game to one half of the screen. They'll have the commercial, and the sound will be on the commercial while the people are talking, and there's actually there's actually stuff happening in the game, and you're like, what's going on? Why I can't hear it? It's really small, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, back to the game. And it's like, dude, really? You're trying to make this a good experience for the fans? You put advertisements on jerseys. They're all over the court now. You see them with CGI. They just put them on the court. They're everywhere. There's advertisements everywhere. They're going to be putting advertisements on the screen during the game. That's frustrating, man. That is really, really frustrating. I don't like that at all, Calvin.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
It's garbage. It's garbage, man. It's garbage. I mean, even some of those just commercial timeouts are just fucking annoying. They really, really are. I think the ads during plays started with auto racing and now NBA. It sucks. Yeah, Brian, it's frustrating, man. It's really frustrating. We're not here to watch the ads. We're here to watch the game. We're here to watch the game. The ads are supposed to play while I'm running the bathroom during a timeout, dude, not while I'm trying to watch the basketball game. That just really, really is.
You're going to miss a lot less during an auto race running an ad mid-race than you are during a basketball game, right?
Oh, that's best whiner, Danny Ainge. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, Calvin, I think we are ready to move on to Toronto. Let's take a look here at the schedule. Man, 2-game losing streak right now. That does not feel good. It does not feel good at all, Calvin. But hey, we're still 2 games above 500. We got 2 games left to finish up this tough road trip before we head home. The Kings are currently 1-3 on this road trip versus a lot of really, really good basketball teams. But hey, this is going to be an even more difficult game tomorrow because you're playing against a good team, you're traveling, and it's on a back-to-back, and you just got embarrassed by the 76ers. So we can take a look here at the game. But before we kind of touch on any of this, Calvin, what are your thoughts in terms of, you're getting beat really bad in this game. Do you consider pulling your starters because you're playing Toronto tomorrow? At what point do you, if you're Mike Brown, do you say, okay, I'm not playing starters minutes because we got a game tomorrow and this game is over? Not that a lot of starters played a ton of minutes tonight, but, at what point do you make that decision?
For me personally, I would have probably done it around midway through the third quarter. If you're not able to make any type of serious run or you don't see, much changed in terms of the effort, energy level out there on the floor, still down by 15 or more points at that point, I'd probably pull the trigger then. You need that first half of the third quarter, the second half, to really tell you, okay, we have a chance to fight our way back into this game or it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, so hey, it's on to Toronto. Speaking of a team that sucks, dude, they just lost twice back-to-back to the Orlando Magic. So I guess that's kind of good for us as Kings fans. But hey, Alex Len is still listed as day-to-day here. We got OG Anunoby is listed as out. Otto Porter Jr., Precious Achua, and Juan Hernan Gomez are all listed as out. We will see what happens. But Calvin, this is a tough game against a good Eastern Conference team on a back-to-back. The Kings are really going to have to bring it. They look tired tonight. They look tired in New York. They're really going to look tired tomorrow in Toronto. What is the key here? Are you jacking yourself up on caffeine? What are you doing as a player to get ready for this game?
I mean, if you're a player in the NBA, if you're a professional athlete, you shouldn't need added motivation to get up for games. I know that might seem silly to say, but you really shouldn't. Especially, look, this team finally is enjoying a little bit of brief regular season success. They're getting a lot of attention from around the country. Like that should be your motivation, right? You're like, okay, we finally feel like we can compete. We need to get it together and turn these terrible performances off. That should be your motivation, right? Like, we know we're better than this. We've got to play up to our potential.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they need to do, right? Is they need to get back to Kings basketball. That was my keys for this game today, Calvin, was get back to Kings basketball. Don't let the other teams control the rhythm of the game. Don't let them control the pace of the game. Be yourself, play freely, and do what you do well. I thought that we would maybe see that tonight, especially with De'Aaron Fox returning, but the dude is not 100%, and the Kings just got outplayed by two really, really good teams in the last two basketball games. Even though the Knicks tried to lose that game, dude. Julius Randle tried to give the game to the Sacramento Kings. He tried to give it to me for Christmas, but it didn't happen. So, one thing I'm keeping an eye on is what's De'Aaron Fox going to look like tomorrow. Now, this is his first game back tonight from this injury that he's been dealing with. It's a back-to-back. Do they rest Fox tomorrow?
It's possible he might not even play. I don't know. It's very possible.
Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. Where do you think they'd be better off, starting Fox or Davion for tomorrow against Toronto?
I mean, again, if Fox is able to play, you play him because he's one of the best players on this team. He definitely helps you. Yep. If you're concerned about him at all, or you think it might be more detrimental to him physically to try and play him on a back-to-back, not so much necessarily about the team, right? Like even if he doesn't have a good night on offense, he still can help this team by being out there. But it's a question of, physically, is it going to cause damage to him, or is it better off to give him, the second of a back-to-back off? I think that's a very situational thing. If the question is simply who are the Kings better off starting, De'Aaron Fox or Davion Mitchell, the answer is De'Aaron Fox, obviously. It depends on how hurt he is and how much you want to consider giving him more rest.
Yeah, Rishi says this is a trap game. It could be considered a trap game. I mean, I feel like it'd be a trap game if the Kings were actually playing good basketball. They have not been playing good basketball. Bouncer, get out of here with that We the North stuff. You better delete that, man. We're not the North. We're the West. That's garbage, Bouncer. Get that out of here. We're not the North. We are not the North. All right. Yeah, I mean, De'Aaron Fox needs to figure it out, dude. Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to play? Is he going to rest? It's a foot injury. Obviously, playing on that foot doesn't help heal your foot. So, yeah, I was really surprised to see him play today. I really was. I thought he was going to sit out at least a couple more games, maybe start in Detroit, maybe start once the Kings reach home. But I was surprised to see him play today. So I'm not sure if he'll be available tomorrow. Shout out to Callum. Pistons will be a dub with no Cade. Yeah, Cade Cunningham, I think, is out for the rest of the season with a surgery, right, Calvin?
He's going to undergo season-ending surgery, yes.
Yep.
It's sad. He was off to a really good start this year.
Yeah, there you go. North California, Sacramento. There you go. NorCal. We the NorCal. Good save, Bouncer.
NorCal.
Good save. Calvin wanted to take your wrench away, man. He really did. He texted me.
Whoa. Don't be putting words in my mouth.
What's up, Bench Matthew? Just finished the game in DVR. And what took you so long? I knew it was going to be a clunker when I saw Tony Brothers was a ref tonight. But at what point do we stop chucking threes and drive to the rack? Yeah. I wish we would have seen that over the past couple games, right? There was many moments where I'm just like, just get to the basket. Just do something. Just get to the basket. But the Kings look tired. Like Calvin said, they're tired, dude. That's what happens when you're tired. I know when I play pickup basketball and I start to get tired, I just start jacking up threes, Calvin. I don't go to the basket anymore. I just start shooting threes. And then guess what? All my shots are short because my legs are tired. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yeah,
the Kings are very short on a lot of their jump shots right now.
They definitely need to get to the basket more. That's for sure. Jesus likes when Calvin uses big words. So keep that in mind, Calvin.
Thank you.
He doesn't want to choke you out today, so that's good.
That's good.
Alfie Man says, bring your fox fur coat because it's going to be cold. Yeah, I don't do well with the cold, man. I really, really don't do well with the cold. So I will not be in Toronto for that game, unfortunately. So Calvin, give me your keys to the game against Toronto.
I've got 4 areas really that I'm looking at for this game. Number 1, the Kings have to shoot better, right? Like they need to convert on some of these outside looks. Yes, playing inside out, all that stuff is true. But again, I go back to the point I made earlier that they had a lot of open looks for guys that you would think, or you'd be very happy with taking those open shots, open threes in the past couple of games. They just haven't hit them. The Raptors are middle of the pack in 3-point percentage allowed, so hopefully that's an opportunity for the Kings to take advantage of. Number 2 would be rebounding. Again, it's always an important thing for the Sacramento Kings. The Raptors, for not being a bigger team, much unlike the teams that the Kings have just recently played in Milwaukee, Cleveland, Philadelphia, the Raptors are actually a really good rebounding team. They allow tied for the 3rd fewest offensive rebounds in the NBA, and they also grab, I think, the 4th highest number of offensive rebounds in the NBA. So rebounding is going to be of the utmost importance, as it always is for this Kings team. I'm also looking for pace. I know the Kings are tired right now, but this is an opportunity to make some headway in getting out in transition and opening up the offense by getting some easy baskets. The Raptors are a really good defensive team. They like to slow the game down. They're 24th in the NBA in pace. The Kings are 6th in the NBA in pace. So if the Kings are able to close out possessions and get some rebounds, that was one thing in today's game that they had a real big missed opportunity with. When Embiid goes out, that is the golden moment to attack the basket, right? And the Kings were not able to do that today because when Embiid goes down, James Harden makes 3 straight outside shots. Shake Milton gets 2 consecutive easy line drives wide open to the basket, and all those made field goals limit your ability to rip the ball and run and attack the basket on the other end. So pace, rebounding, shooting, and then turnovers. The Raptors are number 2 in fewest turnovers per game. The Kings are, again, in the middle of the pack there. So taking care of the ball is going to be very important as well.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I think that pace is going to be really, really important in this game, right? The Kings need to get back to playing Kings basketball. They need to figure out how they were able to control the tempo and the pace in a lot of these games earlier in the season. And then, yeah, I like your attention on the turnovers, right? The Kings have been throwing a lot of bad passes. They've been throwing lazy passes that have been getting picked off. So I think the Kings definitely need to be more coherent. They need to be, more, I guess, just careful with those passes. Stop throwing those just risky passes. They look good when they work out, but when they don't, they look really, really bad. So I would definitely highlight that area. And then, yeah, I think they need to figure out a way to turn over Toronto. The Kings have played exceptionally well when they get a lot of turnovers. It allows them to run. It allows them to push the pace and get easy buckets in transition. So I'm keeping my eye on spin move Siakam. When he does that spin move, you gotta strip the ball. You gotta know which direction he's going. Strip that thing and get out on a fast break. So yeah, I think that's very, very important. Jesus, the Kings' current record is 14-12. So hey, we're still 2 games above 500. We could potentially lose the next 2 games and still be 500 when we return to Sacramento. I do think we have a great chance against Detroit. That game's, I don't want to say a lock because I want to jinx myself. But I think we got a great chance against Detroit. And honestly, I think we have a great chance tomorrow against Toronto. But it really depends on how this team responds. They got absolutely embarrassed today. I'm sure, if I'm a Kings player, I'm not watching the news tonight. I'm not watching any TV. I'm not checking any messages. I'm just trying to get into Toronto, get a full night of sleep, and trying to get into a rhythm tomorrow, because I think that's probably the most important. Alfie Man says, stop Van Vliet. Yeah, Fred Van Vliet's a great shooter, great player. You got to pick your poison with this Toronto Raptors team. Any other thoughts, Calvin, on the Raptors here?
Those areas of the game are what I'm looking for. It's going to be tough, being tired now and grueling through this long road trip against tough defensive teams. Toronto is another one, and a back-to-back. And of course, the question mark of whether or not Fox plays is kind of a double-edged sword. It's like you want him to play, but at the same time, is he going to look like what he looked like today if he does play? Davion probably is going to have to step up big, whether Fox plays or not again, right?
Yep.
Obviously, defensively, he's going to have a big matchup with Fred Van Vliet. And then if he can find a way to knock down some shots, it would really help open the floor up for the rest of these shooters.
Couldn't agree more. They need a big game out of Davion Mitchell if they want to win this basketball game. All right, Calvin, I think that pretty much wraps up today's stream. Anything else you want to shout out to the loyal Kings fans out there?
Man, just try and keep it together, everybody, until the Kings get back home. We could be having a very different conversation about this team a month from now. This is a rough trip, and they've had a couple of really back-breaking losses in a row. But again, the season is not over. It's not time to tank. It's not time to trade the whole team away. Let's give it a little bit more time. Yeah.
Patience is key. Good teams go through streaks like this. They go through winning streaks. They go through losing streaks. And honestly, we need to get healthy. We're dealing with a ton of injuries. This is not the full Sacramento Kings team that we've been seeing over the past couple weeks. So just kind of, relax, get some rebounds like Rishi's saying here, and we'll get right back to it as soon as we can. But thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you all so much. Don't forget to smash up that like button. Hit the subscribe button. We will see you all tomorrow after the Kings game. But yeah, it's a tough road trip. And hey, guys, it's okay. Just stay strong. We're still looking pretty good, man. We are beating all expectations for the season so far, even after a couple really, really tough games. But hey, I'm looking to see the Kings return back to glory tomorrow against the Raptors. So we'll catch you guys then. Thank you guys so much for watching. And in the meantime, go Kings.